Focus on Liberia. We discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this special edition of Focus on Liberia. We call Between the Headlines. My name is Dennis Jah, and we're broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In tonight's edition of our broadcast, I'm honored to sit with the twin brothers, Hassan Fadiga, that's Hassan Menje Fadiga, and Hussein UJ Fariga. They call them the Fadiga brothers. Hassan and Hussein, welcome to this broadcast.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you
for having us.
Right, we want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. If you have not already done so, please share the show as we sit with the twin brothers, the Fadiga brothers. Love them or hate them, you know that these guys, they're always in your face, right? They have core political beliefs that they don't shy away from expressing. And because of that, they have won themselves the hearts of many, and for some, not so well. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Fadiga brothers, the political journey of the Fadiga brothers, their alliances, their motivation, and philosophy. This is my second time hosting the two of you because I like you guys. I hope you do too.
I like being here. Always a pleasure whenever you call.
Yes. How's life? How's family? How things doing? Let me start with Hassan.
Well, family life is great. The kids are doing great. Everybody's doing great. Wife, everybody's doing great.
Good.
Yeah, we're fine on this side, man. I mean, I can say I'm at the best place right now in my life. Career-wise, decision-wise, I mean, you can't ask God for a better.
All right. We want you all to share the show. Let me share.
I can't see the link.
Okay, I'll share with you. Fariga brothers. Yeah. Right, I'll have somebody to share with you. But let's take a short break as we get ready. All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Focus on Liberia. I'm sitting with tonight with the Fadiga brothers, and we're going to be talking about their political journey. I want to start like this because you are in the news most of the time and you've been here. We have discussed some of these issues. So let me start with there's a history that you have aligned with different political parties, different groups, different actors, and a lot of positions that you have taken that some may find very inconsistent. But let me give you the benefit of the doubt. Tell me, walk me through your political journey or your political alliances since 2005. And we're going to come to the details of how you got there, but just briefly, because I learned that you've been with the ALP of Ure, the UP of Ellen and Buckeye. You came close to being with WIA. You aligned with Mr. Cummings at some point, and now you are with the UP Joseph Human Buckeye. So, for those watching for the first time, let me hear your story about your political journey since elections 2005.
So let me start up. The thing is, a lot of time people just spread misinformation. Sometimes it spreads so much until they tend to believe their own lie. And not that I care much about what people think, but Dennis, you must. I don't think a lot of people know that I've never been part of any political institution as far as a card-toting members. I've always aligned with certain things. If I feel strongly about it, I will align myself. The only political institution that I came close to joining was the ALP because for some reason I felt we needed someone on the ground, local person on the ground that probably understand the Liberian people plight, that have been there throughout, that have never left, will probably understand what the Liberian people have gone through and be able to understand their plight. And that it did not when I I joined the ALP, or at least I tried to join the ALP, not even because of Mr. Ure, was because of Madame Ure. And to be frank, honestly, I think Madame Ure, May Ure, would have been a way far better candidate than her husband.
Right.
It's just I was a
we're going to come through why. I just want you to walk me briefly through the journey.
Let me tell you now. So that what happened, and I had to leave because the more I get to, the more I knew. Look, I'm an independent man. I'm very analytical. I don't just jump into things. I analyze it, weigh the pros and the cons. If in my best interest, in the best interest of the country, I will support it. What most people don't know is that we do not support things based on personal aggrandizement or financial. No, no politician have ever given me money before. I spend my money when I join any institution like something. So I left, but I wish I could go in detail. And then Madam Salif never supported. 2005, I was out of the country. I was in the US. I have just come to the US. I think a year or so in the US because I came to the US in 2004. So 2005, that was just about a year since I've been in the US. Madam Salif was the better option. I never supported Georgia at that time. And because I was focused on my own journey in America and how to something, we're not ready focused on Liberian politics. We started gradually after the election, we started to watch the Salif administration. It is no secret that I supported Madam Salif. I thought she was a better option from 2005 to 2011. I thought she did an excellent job. When it came 2011, that was easy itself because we already knew. But I think she screwed up. And you, Dennis, you were here when I didn't shy away from criticizing her. We criticized Ellen. The thing here is like the problem with Liberia is not like America. Our politics have not evolved to the point where people are actually voting based on the issues. Most time, our politics is either driven by individual popularity or just bunch of in American they say gobbledygook, bunch of things that got nothing to do with anything. But people just look for either some alignment and join things. So. And that's the sad thing about our politics. So you have to, and then we have a minefield of bad people to choose for. It's not like you have in America where all our politicians are carefully vetted, that you know that this person going there, you can put your neck on the line. In Liberia, you got to look at money field, navigate the field, and I probably settle on the least evil and try to work with that person until we can build our political infrastructure or our democratic infrastructure and be where we are. But we are still not there. So when it came that time to 2017, I was not really supporting the Salif. I was with the opposition. But when I saw that the opposition were leaning towards Weah, who I have predicted would have been a very terrible president. I've given 20,000 reasons why I gave it in 2005, I gave it 2011. And then in 2017, the option were faced with were boycott or let's not even boycott, the Unity Party or the CDC. As a rational person, as a person with that study these things and know, I'm like, I may not like the UP. They may have done some bad thing, but yeah, I had the two options. Can you take this flamboyant play ball of a soccer legend and make him president with no experience, or bank my hope on a more experienced, older candidate that may fade away in the next 1 or 2 term. So if any rational person having that thing, the choice is not too difficult to make. So what did we do? I supported Ambassador Boycott. Right. We all know what happened, and that did not go the way we want. But so just to give you a brief description. So when people say, right, "Oh, flip floppy," and there are some people that are,
and we'll come to that detail. And since then, you supported during the opposition days when it was like Kumaya for opposition. The two of you made history by going to Hong Kong and around those areas.
Oh, right? Yeah, we were and on that government. They said
right, the government. You were closely aligned with opposition or advocate. Pedro Costa at that time. You supported DeLong. Now you moved to Cummings, and from Cummings you came to.
So this is how I supported Cummings.
Yeah. So walk me through. Like just end there, then I can go to Hassan.
Yeah. Let me tell you how I supported Cummings. So
I don't want you to skip Costa and DeLong support.
Yeah, DeLong support. So right after 2017, we formed this group called Save the State. Right after 2017, after the election, we were still bitter. We're still licking our wounds from the election. We did not believe that the election was fair, but our political leader at that time, Ambassador Boyka, felt the need that it was time to cut it off, and we had no other option but to cut it off. But yet and still, we did not go down easily. We decided to form this group called Save the State. There were so many people. DeLong was in that group. A lot of those people, Kou, who else? Mo Ali, a lot of those guys, And then in that group, we started to plan our next course of action. How can we already have one? That's one thing. How can we hold their feet to the fire? That was our next mission. When things were not going, when it started, Joe, we are right after better 90 days, they started building houses. We saw him putting on structure. We saw bulldozer going around bulldozing the different infrastructure. So I'm like, this guy, this is not what we knew that this guy would have been corrupt, but we did not expect it to happen this early. So with Save the State came the Costa. Costa came last. Costa never knew anything about most of those things that were happening. Costa will come on later on to join, but it was, you remember that at that time Costa was supporting the government, right? At that time, Costa had gone to the government right after the election, and he was supporting Weah. So we went back to the Save the State, we regrouped, and we started to plan on how we can use protests and use other means to hold the government feet to the fire. And one of those things we saw, we went to Hong Kong to investigate the $536 million bogus loan. So that was how the whole thing started. So fast forward, Ambassador Boyka said he was not running. I think he said he was not running at that time. Everybody will, have one to do with. Then we saw this guy from the diaspora who, promising individual. Not that I hated him. It's just that he was not permanent at that time. I saw how he did in 2017, 112,000 vote came very close to Prince Johnson. We say, but this is a fine Liberian we can help propel to move on. That is how I aligned with Mr. Comey, based on his ideology, based on Tommy. So it was not because he would give me money. No, based on the fact that we see already. This has happened. Look, our politics is very fluid. It's not stagnant. There's so many moving parts to it.
Right.
You have to keep up.
And then you left
You
Comey, and now you are supporting Buakai. And now
I'll tell you why.
No, not why now. Just yes or no.
I support Ambassador Boyka at the moment. And the reason I can give you, we'll
come to the reason. I want to give before Hassan fall asleep. So Hassan, I don't want to assume that Mr. Hussein Fadiga spoke for you. What is your own story, or you've been with him in all these things?
Well, I hold this conviction that as a rational being, you shouldn't take a position and marry to that position. You shouldn't take that position and hold firmly to that position, even when you notice that situation has changed. And because of that, and because I don't jump into things based on interest, especially politics or my political leaning based on personal interest, we tend to put our pride, our ego aside for the greater good. So over the course of maybe 20 years, it is true that we have shifted our position numerous times. We did support Madame Serif, and when she betrayed the public trust around the Ebola time, around 2017, we did speak up against her. We did came out openly, and we distanced ourselves from her, and we did call her out. That speaks to our sincerity for what we do. We did support Benin Ayue. I did go to Canada. I met with Benin Ayue. I met with a wife, fine woman. We talked. But I'm one person. We don't jump into things based on personality or institution or what everybody is gravitating towards. We jump into things that we genuinely believe. And we felt that Benin Ayue, given the fact that he was on the ground, he has established a lot of stuff on the ground. He was doing well with his business. We felt that he employed a lot of Liberians. We could use that, his expertise, to transform Liberia. But after being
there were
around,
other people on the ground, right? Tipote was on the ground.
But he was at that time, he was the one that his name was resonating with us. So
okay.
Now there's one thing people fail to realize. When you know someone from a distance, is different than when you get to know them, get close to them. And when we got close to the UA, I'm very analytical in the way I view things. So when we got close to the UA, I started to ask the hard question. And some of the things, the little things like we open charity and having Christmas party in the interior, and there's 11,000 people that's all sitting around. I said, but where's the picture? Send the picture, we need to put it up. Those questions, when I start to see contradictions and discrepancy in your story, I start to scratch my head. And I'm not one of those that would blindly support. So when I started to see things, I called my brother. I told him, I'm the one that would be in the back and say, my man, I see some things, and the way we're proceeding, we gotta take a back seat. This route we are going might not be the right route. I see discrepancy in a lot of stories and something, and because of that, we tactfully withdrew our support from Benin Ayue. Now, someone may call it flip-flop. I call it sincerity. You could lend your support to someone. What they do is on them. And you don't have control over another person, but you have control over how you handle that situation. And so we are back away from Benin Ayue. We went back, Ambassador, when the choices came between Ambassador Boyka and George Weah, there were a lot of people like George. We have reached out. Hey, people reached out to us, and looking at the both candidates in the race at that time, I couldn't with clear conscience support George Weah because I think I had an incline into how his leadership was going to be like. So we chose to support Joseph Boakai for the greater good of Liberia. And unfortunately, we didn't win the election. And then we joined the opposition again to see how best we could save the state. And we started to make honest effort in helping towards that endeavor. We went to Hong Kong. Contrary to what people said, we spent our own money. We were involved in protests at the United Nations and other areas. And since then, we have been working. Then we went back to when Kumi came into the picture. We decided to join the Kumi team. I spoke with
When
Kumi.
was that? Because I thought you joined the Cummins team this year.
No, it was actually last year. Last year, in fact, I publicly, I have the records there. I think it was last year, August. Last year June. I endorsed Alexander Kumi for president, and I started to work with stakeholders, and on his team. And then what we did was, I think in August he called me. In August, I got a call from him through a close aide of him, and then we decided to foster the relationship. After a while, I got frustrated. And another thing, before I lost my train of thought, what people fail to realize, we don't unilaterally just take decision. If we are going to do something, we start to complain first, and we start to reach out to that party and tell them, hey, your campaign is not doing well. We check the polls, all the polls saying you're not doing well. You guys are not going this place. You guys are not doing it. And then we do not only sit, we also bring hopeful ideas to help the campaign because we are result-oriented people. We want whenever we join a team, we want to see result and we want to win. In Igoma Ward, there was a post that I made warning the Cummins campaign that if I don't see any shift in the campaign strategy by December, I'll be making another decision. By January of this year, I resented my support for Alexander Kumi. In the post, you go on my wall, you will see the post. I withdrew my support for Alexander Kumi, and people still reach out, and I was in the middle. But in March of this year, that's when, it was a done deal. I was sure that Kumi was not the guy I was going to go with. After having a series of meeting with them, I knew that he was not ready to become president.
So from the time you left the Save the State till last year when you joined Cummins, where have you been? I mean, which side?
No side. I've been in the middle. I've just been speaking on social political issues and discussing, debating.
Is it true that during that time you toyed with the idea of joining the CDC or supporting President Weah?
No. This is what happened. And I'm sure you know that story better than most people. June 7, that I still believe was the worst thing we did to Liberia. People don't know it. People will never want to accept it. But I think June 7 emboldened President Weah. And what it did was we turned what would have been a movement to make President Weah change, we turned it into a flash mob. That's what we had, a flash mob. The multiple negotiation, the group that headed the team, I don't think they did a good job. Yes, people turn out, but how do you measure a successful protest? It's like a hostage negotiation. Protest is like a hostage situation. You hold a government hostage until they cave into one or two of your demands. Then you know that your protest was a success. What became the outcome of the June 7 protest? Nothing. There were almost 18 or more demands. Now one the president listened to. In fact, he just grabbed it and trashed it. Never came out to see it. Didn't even pay it no mind. It shows there was something fundamentally wrong with that protest. And that is why we were fighting against. But those that were fighting against turned out to be more powerful. That didn't mean we didn't have a voice, but people were not listening at that time because their mind were focused on just getting people out in the street. And while we were focusing on resort, we saw those guys sign a cooperative agreement with the government. We saw all those different mistakes that shouldn't have been made, but it was made, and that infuriated me. And when I was infuriated, guess what it did? Because we're not supporting it, our own friends or in the opposition started to attack us. They were attacking us relentlessly. They were, in fact, people were wishing death upon me, doing something. And guess what? 2 a.m. in the morning, guess who called me? I received a call from my girl. You remember that last show that I had where the president was watching? He said, if the opposition don't want you, we'll want you on the side. In fact, they didn't say when, they said, can you come so we can have a sit down? That was the meeting. We said, all right. I didn't go there with anything that I want to join the government. My brother and myself flew to Liberia, was in Liberia, I think, for 2 weeks. I think a week or two. I spent in Liberia. I had a meeting with whoever wanted to have the meeting with. I didn't like what I was hearing. I didn't like what was being, something. I can do it. And I didn't do it. I didn't go there to take money. If there were money, I could have been working in job with our government. I could have taken money today. But it was just not something that I was willing to do. If it was in good faith, it was something that I see that I could contribute to my country. Not everybody in government is corrupt. Not everybody that work in the CDC government will be corrupt. There are people that can still work in government and still be something. But I just didn't like what was being put on the table. And
what were you guys being offered?
Well, one of the things was to run a media institution, and I told them plain blank, I said, I'm not going to be the one that the president will say, will speak bad English today, then tomorrow they say, oh, go out there and go defend it. No, I said, the only thing I can do is, if you want information dissemination, give me the information, factual information, I will disseminate it from the comfort of my home in the U.S. That was what we discussed. And we discussed some other things too that I would not want to say on it. So, and I told them, so after it did not go, after that meeting, I just told them, like, the opposition attack. In fact, while we're in Liberia, they sent video. You remember the video that I made about the president? Some video that I said some very mean things to the president. They were sharing it. They were planning people to attack us in Liberia so they can blame the government. That's how bad it was, because they felt that if we had gone on the government side, it would have been trouble for the opposition. And so what I did was I decided to recruit myself to a private life. I moved up north to my job, took up a contract up there, and I just stayed away from the politics for over a year. I suspended my podcast, and I was just watching because I already identified key actors that were destroying the opposition. Nobody listened. Few months later, the CPP came, they did whatever. Then we start seeing fingering. Then we start seeing everything. Then it came back. Oh, what you guys were saying is true. Oh, we're sorry. But then it was too late. We are wasting all this time. And so we were right. We've always been right.
All right. And the two of you have always been together,
not necessarily
supporting.
Yeah, let me just to add on to what Hussein was saying. You see, most times when you criticize a man for taking a position, you should also look at the intent. When we take a position, we will always take a position on national issue. I will never shy away. If today Joseph Boyka is not doing something right, or his behavior, his policy runs contrary to my values, run contrary to what I believe, that he's there to genuinely fight for the Liberian people and bring in genuine change, we will go against Joseph Boyka again. Now, until I leave this earth, I will never take a position, and when the situation dictates that, I shift my views for the greater good of an institution or country, and then I hold that position for fear that other people might call me a flip-flopper or sell or whatever. I owe it to my conscience. As long as I'm doing things that is not illegal, I'm doing things that doesn't betray the public trust, I think I can live with that. And
Thank you.
Dennis, let me say that. Hassan, let me just say something.
Hold on, Hassan, because I want to get to the meat.
Let me just say this. Let me say this. It's very important that I say it. There is something in Liberia, and this is one of the things about people that make me laugh. But we tend to coin some bad things, and nobody tend to research. Oh, we got this flip flop. There are a few kind of individuals that annoys me in Liberia. We a little over 5 million people. Pray tell me, if you claim that you do not support no one in Liberia, you do not have a candidate, you do not have a political institution, you do not care about supporting anybody in Liberia, you are now worth discussing Liberian politics. Just sit down, Papa or Mama will decide for you. The bottom line here is, because of that fear of people attacking people and attacking your personality to make you look bad, that you're not worthy enough to discuss this thing. People want to brand people. Brand people are these different cliches that they use. So guess what? Most people keep their political lineage to their heart, to their chest. They don't choose side. They don't say nothing. But how can you criticize people that have chosen side when you have never had a side? I mean,
thank you.
If you have never had a side before, so, you are not even you are one of the least citizens, because every citizen in Liberia, in any country for that matter, more support something.
Have a side. All right.
You should have a side.
So let me ask you this. Let me start with Hassan. What do you look for in a person, in a politician or a group before giving them your support?
Okay, let me give you one example. When we are after the June 7 protest, when we felt betrayed, and then we knew we were genuinely saying the truth that Costa took money and things were not going the way they saw the protest, we spoke up. People attacked us. If we were not strong to aggressively fight back, they besmirch our character. They said the worst thing you could say about me. I said, but we are the victim here. We didn't do anything. All we wanted to have a protest that will hold joy. We are accountable. You have people that hijacked the protest. They took money, and the protest was held for 1 day, and the rest is history. Why are they coming after us for speaking up? So our argument was, if we in the opposition, we are not holding people within our rank accountable, just as we want to hold George Weah accountable, we are hypocrites. So when George Weah reached out to me, this is why I came to my mind. We are all professional. I'm a professional working in law enforcement. I know Liberia is struggling right now. I have a strategy that could reduce violent crime by maybe up to 90-95% in 3-4 years. If the Weah administration called me and say, you guys need to come, as a Liberian and as a professional, I want to listen to him. Yeah. You want to work as a consultant, want to put forth your ideas to help better Liberia? Yes. We are the first generation of Fadiga, Dennis. I believe we have a legacy. My legacy is, if I want to sit today or tomorrow and someone say, well, who are the father of modern law enforcement? Who helped reduce violent crime up to 90% in Liberia was so bad at health? They say, oh, there was one Hassan Fadiga or a brother, he put forth some policy. I want to be that guy. So when any government come in, I want to come there, I want to contribute. It doesn't mean I want to go and steal or want to go and be corrupt. But when we got there, the first thing, when they started to talk about more, their mindset was more of a propaganda than of bringing in really help. So I called my brother to the side. I said, look, in America, as we are frustrated with the opposition, we need to tread very carefully with the guys. Right. Because they're going to create the appearance that we took money and to shut our mouth, and we're going to be in a position that we scar off for life. So in our work, as we are frustrated, we need to walk it back and take a step. So when we went there and while we were hearing in the way...
Hassan, I want you to go directly to my question now. What do you look for in these people?
What do I look for? I look for honesty.
Right.
I look for someone.
And do you find it? Do you find it before you join?
No. Let me tell you, I'm a pragmatist, so I don't try to look for sin in politicians. I genuinely believe that all politicians are dishonest people. When I mean dishonest, they
can be dishonest.
The policy must shift at any time. So I deal with what I see face value. Now, if, for example, Joseph Boyka right now, why am I supporting Joseph Boyka? Everybody know that I was against Joseph Boyka. After the election, I always go on record. I went on record to say I would never support Joseph Boyka. Joseph Boyka have a failing health, and that was my main concern, that he health, and I'm not going to support him.
And that health has not improved.
It has not improved, but this is the bigger picture here. I supported Cummings. There are some things out of respect for Alexander Cummings I don't want to say on the radio in the public space, but I spoke with Cummings. I spoke with people on numerous occasions. I know what he campaign like. When we join something, we don't join just that. We put our everything into it. We spend money. I send people to Yapa's town. I send people to compound number 1, number 2, number 3. We send people to Swakoko in some area and somewhere in Granji there. We send people there to check, to do the groundwork. Right. Everywhere we went, unfortunately, Kumi was the least. No, some people, some area, the people they didn't even know about Kumi, especially in the Basel Belt.
So what did you find in Kumi? That's what I'm saying. What do you look for in these people before joining? And
I look for competence. I look for sincerity. I look for the winning spirit. Right. There's so many other things depending on the situation and the trend at that time. For Kumi, there's no, I can never question the competence of Kumi. But Kumi campaign did a poor job at marketing him, and he had 5 years to get everything right. He didn't get it right, and in 6 months to the election, I genuinely believe Kumi cannot make any headway in 6 months. So we started to watch a wave. After I distanced myself from Kumi in January, I started to watch the political landscape. And then I saw the Liberian people gravitating to this.
Before you go to that, why did you distance yourself? What you were looking for, you no longer saw it? Or
I saw a failed campaign. I saw a campaign that was very arrogant. I saw a campaign that
before then, which campaign did you see? Before seeing this arrogant campaign, which campaign drew you closer to Cummings? Was it not the same arrogant campaign?
No, it was not. Earlier, I said something. When you get to know someone from a distance, you don't really get to see a lot. When you start to get closer to that person and you start to align yourself with them, then things start to show. Most of these campaigns, most of these people, if you're not close to them, you don't get to see a lot. When you get in proximity to these guys, by sitting on the table with them and talking, then some behavior. I analyze people for behavior for a living. So I can spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes talking with you. I can be able to get you and get a few or a better judge your character by getting in.
Before I go to, sorry for interrupting. Before I go to Hussein, why don't you do that before declaring your support?
Because the political landscape, the way our political situation and structure, you cannot get to know someone 100% except where you get close to that person. And as time progresses, you tend to see the person for who they really are.
Thank you. So Hassan, the same question, because it is not just going to the person, it's the back and forth, right? First, you made these studies, you made this examination, you joined Boakai and started supporting. Later on, you found out that he was frail, he was sick.
Now let me
later on you went back. Okay, end your thought, Hassan.
Let me end my thought on the Burqa issue. So I supported Kumi for close to a year. I spoke with them on the campaign. I warned the campaign. I put forth some ideas for the campaign to help the campaign. By December, I told them if I don't see any them making headway in this agenda, I will withdraw my support. January, I withdrew my support. So you see, it didn't just happen abruptly. We warned them and we put forth certain ideas. Now, after that, we started seeing a new wave. We could have done two things. I could have held on to my pride and say, wow, I did say I will not support Joseph Boyka, and I'm not going to do it because people are going to call me flipper. But It's not about me. It's about Liberia and where we want to see Liberia. Whatever Kumi did is on him. I went there with a clear conscience to help move the campaign, to help foster the agenda. In fact, I was one of those behind the scene working for Kumi to go to number 2 to Joseph Boyka. I don't want to go into detail on what happened, but a lot happened. Now, here's the thing. The current trend in Liberia, the bigger picture here is Georgia. That's my bigger picture. Other people might see it differently, but I believe that Georgia has failed the Liberian people, and Georgia we need to do everything to get Georgia out of power and usher in a responsible government, and then the rest we can start to deal with that. The person that is in line on that train to do the work is Joseph Boyka. Against this background, I decided to lend my support again to Joseph Boyka.
All right, let's go to Hussein. Hussein, the same question. What do you look for in these politicians before you join them? And why you keep, the big word for them is solitating, right? You go back and forth between them. Why?
All right, let me tell you why. I see Tyler Kuwongba.
We'll come to the comments, please.
You see.
Let me answer my question first.
Let me tell you something. If you listen to me earlier, Liberia is a small country with a minefield of bad choices to choose from. We have too many bad choices to choose from. Liberia, our politics have not evolved yet. Not saying that we do not have good people there. I've seen a lot of good people in Liberia. I've seen some good politicians, but good people seldomly have the chance to do anything in Liberia. But what do I see in people? I told you, when I had a choice to choose between George Weah and Ambassador Boyka, even though I did notice that despite some of the gains that the Unity Party achieved in the 12 years, there were some bad things that happened. Not necessarily at the hand of Ambassador Boyka, but while Madam Salif was in office, there were some things that happened. Ambassador Boyka even himself mentioned it. He was very honest. He said, we squandered some opportunities. That means there were opportunities that we could have made more gains. We didn't happen. But we all know, comparing the Salif administration to this administration, you know that this administration is a disaster beyond epic proportion. But so what do I see in a candidate? The first thing I look for the character. I look for winnability. Who can win? Because in politics, there's nothing like quality votes. In America, sometimes we look for quality vote, but the vote comes in quantity. So if you look, you say, oh, I won't support a drug addict to vote because the person is a drug addict, so I won't take the vote, or I won't take this other person. You're going to lose. You will never get elected. Right. So people vote, based on the quantity of votes.
Right. So it means
I can give you specific.
If plenty of people are voting for
have you supported too many people?
Right. If plenty of people supporting the drug addict, then you will support because
not necessarily. Not necessarily.
I mean, I'm talking winnability now, because if plenty of people are supporting, it's possible that person win, right? So you go there.
It's possible. So no, that doesn't mean I'm going to definitely go there. I got my own personal values. Okay. I grew up with a dad that was a very honest man. Both my parents were hard working civil service. I never had any family member that were high in government. All what we have gotten in our life from both my parents and what we have now have been in the private sector. I do not have what I am today have nothing to do with government, unlike other families. So I wouldn't say that that's the reason we're supporting people. But what happened here is we have a minefield to choose from. In 2017, we had it boils down to President Weah and Ambassador Boyka.
But are you always making it like these are binary choices? You either choose one or the other. There are a slew of candidates, right?
Whether I choose one or not, the Liberian, somebody will choose.
Right. You don't we are not always at two persons, right? Like today, you have Cummings, you have Boyka, you have Councillor Gonglo, you have Simeon Fremont, you have Mandela Cooper, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
So it is not always binary as you are presenting.
So it's always binary because Liberia have a proliferation of political parties. That doesn't mean all the parties are serious. I mean, you know that. We must as well just boil it down to the Republican and Democrat here. Do you know in America we have several political parties? Do you know that we do not only have Republican and Democrat here? We have the Labour Party, we have the DFL Party, we have the Tea Party, the Green Party, plenty of political parties. But two recognize the Republican and Democrat. Those smaller parties support the canvas, raise money and support the bigger institution. In Liberia, we have 20-something political institution. Does that mean that all of them will win? Most of them don't get one. Some don't even have no vote. So this is what we have to deal with. So you can put.
But by the time you supported ALP, it was the same scenario, right?
No, ALP was not. No, ALP
was an experiment.
ALP was. In fact, I was with ALP for less than a month.
Right.
Less than 2
ALP
months.
was an experiment.
ALP was. Let me tell you one of the things. Let me tell you one of the things about the ALP that people don't know. I believed in Madame Ure, May Ure, more than Mr. Benedict Ure. I wish I had that much influence to convince her to run instead of her husband. But I knew that it was an uphill battle. I will say this today. My main aim of joining that ALP was to see that Madame Ure, May Ure, post herself to run. But I knew that I couldn't get that to happen. And I just recruited myself. I was not eyeing Mr. Ure. I would never, he was, my aim, I wish. She's a powerful woman. She doesn't have a lot of, I would leave it at that. We are past that stage. But what do you find in, what do I find in let's be specific, because now that 10 people
let's say Boakai, because you have gone back and forth between Boakai. So let's use Boakai for instance.
Let's use specific, we shouldn't make it low that we got 10 people that are supported. Let's use Boakai. Look, 2017, the choices were clear. Our elections, they are very predictable, even like American election that you can see people go, John King and Matthew Wall, they can predict. Sometimes it's not always right, but almost 90% of the time they're always right. Our election, even though we have 23 political parties, it usually boils down to two major candidates. Right now,
but it's your decision that boils it down to these two candidates.
No,
right?
That's not my decision. I'm just an individual with the votes.
But they are all individuals like you. So if you boil it down,
hold on. It's not me. It's the 5 million people that are back home that are going to be going to the ballot. I just happen to be an opinion leader. So my opinion is what guides some people. I'm not in Liberia. I might not go to Liberia to vote. Mm. I'm eligible to vote. I've registered, but because of some other prior engagement, I might not go. But the main people that are going to be deciding are those people on Broad Street.
But you are showing a lot of them, right? Because
hold on now. Yes. So my voice is my vote. So how I see our political landscape is how I present it to the people. So what did I see in 2017? Then I'll come to this time. 2017, I'm looking at George Weah, who has been endorsed by all the opposition. We saw the Nima declaration that Mr. Cummings, Joe can say Mr. Cummings flip-flopper, all the people there endorsed going after this incumbent. Dress red dress, they chose President Weah as the head. Personally, knowing
what you mean they chose? All of them were in the election. You have Brumskin, you have Cummings, you have Weah, you have Prince Johnson.
The coalition, apparently, most of them went, but the coalition had tapped something. Second round, the coalition had tapped. I'm talking about the
second round, because you always boil it down to two. Before second round, we have all these people, right?
Before second round, there were two parties. Forget about all these people. All these people were there. Our prediction came to what it is. Despite all the people, the election boiled down to the CDC, which was the largest political institution in Liberia at that time, and Ambassador Boakai, who was the incumbent. So based using my political lenses and my political analysis, I knew that it would have boiled down to those two. So I'm not thinking on Mandela Kubo and going, no. I'm not thinking on those things. That is why people rely on our opinion, because we have been around for a long time to make these predictions. So whether we had 20 people, it would have boiled down to these two. And when it came to these two, knowing what I know, I just could not choose this flamboyant, promiscuous playboy over a reputable older politician who could be our transitional president that would safely deliver this country, do something that Ellen failed to do, and turn it over to a responsible president. I chose Boyka. How is that flip-flopping? That is making decisions in the best interest of our country. Because even in America, Hillary Clinton won by 3 million. There are other people that she still lost the election. Because sometimes one of the downside to democracy is majority rule. Even though they say also, sometimes the majority don't always get it right. But it just says that the majority, the will of the majority must be respected and it must be heard. And I'm seeing this. We lost. Ambassador Boyka said I think he said he was not going to run. Things have changed. We came in the CPP disintegrated. We went on until 5 months to the election. I'm not disassociating myself from Mr. Cummings because I think he's a bad candidate, or I think he will make a terrible president. No, I'm listening to the people on the ground. I'm on the Spoon Network, and every time we have 10. Hold on. We have 5, 10 callers call, and each one of those calls say they want Ambassador Boyka. I send people around the country. Spend almost 20-something hundred to people to do individual polling. They are going around polling, and I'm looking at this thing, and this older man that would say is old is effortlessly winning every poll. I study the man. What is his record? How do we know him? And the more that I study him, I haven't seen anything on the contrary to say he was corrupt, he was bad, he got this, he got that. No.
Mr. Fadiga, before I bring in Hassan, you were on this network just less than a month ago.
Yeah.
And you have these things to say about Mr. Boyka. Those things are still true.
Hold on. That's why you didn't let me to finish my train of thought.
Okay.
This is the thing that's happening. I'm very pragmatic. And that is what most people don't do. I'm very pragmatic. If I'm wrong, I'm not saying that I'm a saint, I know it all. Yeah. We all make mistakes. If I make mistakes, I will honestly come here to say. But what I'm seeing, and probably most of you have not seen, is that we have a country that have not, in the last 6 years, we have not attracted any foreign direct investment. We have a president that is pillaging our resources, leaves the country for 48 days and cannot give account for it. We have a country that came in with almost $200 million, $250 million worth of drugs. Our children have become zombies. We have a country to rescue. Am I going to sit down and allow this man to go another 6 years, or align myself, form an alliance that will remove him from the power? And what is that? What does that alliance look like? I look, Mr. Cummings, I see they have done a terrible job. They have squandered a lot of opportunity in the last 6 years. His message is not resonating with the Liberian people. Who am I? I cannot perform miracle. What do? We have Ambassador Boyka. Should I deny him or deny the Liberian people an opportunity to have a change and stay there and keep supporting him, or align myself with the man that the people believe
that is likely to win? So how does that, if someone said you are going with the win, what would you say?
It's not the win. Well, if that's a good win, I don't think there's anything wrong with going with a win. It depends on what kind of win you think about. If this is a win to rescue Liberia, definitely. If I wish it was a tornado, I would be in the middle of that tornado, the eye of the tornado, to get me swept away. I think this is a win that is going to rescue Liberia.
I was reading over my brother's show that always does psychology, and they say you were driving and you got to the Arizona bridge, and you see people park their car and jumping over the bridge because there are so many people doing it where you do it. So what you are saying appears to me that okay, even though this man, I have identified so many of his weaknesses, but that's where the people are, and so let me join them.
No.
Is
Let
that
me-
a
let me-
valid-
let me-
No.
let me
You
address that
see
another thing.
one thing you're talking. I don't know. Sometimes we confuse politics with religion and other things. Sometimes we really confuse politics.
Yeah, maybe
This is politics. In politics, what happens is
you go
you
where the
cannot
people are.
govern if you don't win.
Okay.
All the fancy plan that you're thinking about, you can have all the brightest idea. You can say you will make Liberia tend to go. All those things are irrelevant if you can now win the hearts and mind of the people. You must first get elected before you can govern. Who stand a chance? Look, for me, I'm a negotiator. I believe that there is always a possibility to work with someone because no one person can, nobody can come and say, I'm a sin. I'm the only person. You have to work with people. Even in America, let's put it to America.
Okay.
Do you think Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton were the best of friends? Do you think a lot of these people that work together? Look, in America, I've seen politicians say the worst thing about one another. And when it comes to time to save this country, those same people go back on the campaign trail to support the candidate. Haven't you seen that? You want me to get an example? It happens all the time in America. This is the democracy that we emulate. You know why they do that? Because it's for the general good of the country. Democrats fight like I have to say they are cat and dog. But when it comes down to election, the general election, those same people were lying behind those same people that they destroy, they said bad things about, and support them because at that time is for the general good of the country. Ambassador Boyka stands the most chance of winning and changing this aristocracy of a government that we have.
Yes.
Which were lying behind him. All the other things they say about they will say this, don't know. At this
Thank
time,
you. Let me go to Hassan. Hassan, so you have identified the weaknesses of Mr. Boakai, right? You listed them, including his health, his age, and everything else. But you are saying because he stands a better chance to win, so I'm going to support him.
I am not God to know whether he will. So only God
Now, let me tell you.
that.
No.
I think Ambassador Boyka is in excellent health.
But you were here and you talk about all these things.
No, so but after I look, do you know that
changed? But let me ask Hassan.
No, his cognitive ability. Let me say this. Probably you don't know that. Ambassador Boyka brain is sharper than a lot of young people. In fact, that man can remember things more than a lot of us.
So you didn't know that before?
I did not know that before. And that's the privilege that I have that most people might not have. That is why I do what I do. That is why we stay here and give our opinion and people follow it. Because we have that ability to get up close to certain individuals that a lot of people do not have that privilege. So when I'm making decisions, most times for an informed point, not just someone just up there making things. And now that I know it, I think he will make a very great president to rescue that country.
Thank you, Hassan.
Dennis, I will tell you this. I said it before and I'll reiterate what I said. I will swallow my pride. I will swallow my ego any day for the greater good of Liberia. Joseph Boyka, having spoken with him, you see, I said it before with other politicians and I will say it with Joseph Boyka. What you need about people is that when you get to know people from a distance, you can speculate, you can see things that you have heard other people. But when you get to know people individually for yourself, your perception of that person change. And that's the case with Joseph Boyka. When you talk with Joseph Boyka, you will understand why people call him the wise Boyka, why people call him Keke. You will get to understand why. This man's brain, this man's cognitive ability is so sharp, it will amaze you.
I wish you have done that prior to maybe castigating him.
But now, my criticism of Joseph Boyka at that moment, I will only judge him based on the surface. When you see
Why?
a man
I mean, why
walking,
do you do that?
It's normal.
it's
Don't you do
normal.
that?
That's a normal trend in human behavior. You look at Joseph Worker age, anybody we assume. But when you get to sit with him personal and get to know him on a personal level, it's a different story. You tend to respect him more. You tend to understand him more, and you're coming from a place, from an informed position. It's way better than knowing somebody from a distance. My criticism was based on what I knew from a distance. Having gotten to the place where I can talk with Joseph Worker, it's a different story. I get to understand him better. I get to understand his mindset better, and I know within my heart that he means well for Liberia. And if he's elected today, we're going to see a huge difference in Liberia.
So do you understand why people will call you a flip flopper? Because
Now, let me address that.
I don't think it matters. I don't really care whether they can call me.
Yeah, let me end my question. Then you can put in a better position to respond, right? So, because they call that rush to judgment. So you don't really know me, and you make a judgment, and you act upon that judgment, and you don't only stop there, but you convince other people to follow you. Only months later to say, "Oh, I didn't know because I didn't get closer to Dennis to really understand." You have done that once, twice. So if it becoming a pattern, don't you
Who
think
else you know that have
who else? No, who else? Who else? I mean, only Joseph Worker. And you see, when you come from a place, or when you are genuine in your criticism, it's easier for you to walk it back, and easier for you to take another position. I have not criticized Alexander Cumming. I withdrew my support from Alexander Cumming. It did not just happen abruptly. We kind of warned the campaign, and when we found out that they were not heeding our advice and things were not going our way, or the way we wanted it to go, we withdrew our support. Right. It's normal. You know the disconnect and the flawed reasoning that I see with a lot of Liberians. People believe that holding on to a position, arrogantly holding on to a position, is a badge of honor. Even when you know it's not for the greater good, even when you know it's wrong at that moment, or the situation has changed, you hold on to it for fear that people will criticize you.
Right.
It's wrong.
Being in an abusive relationship.
Right.
Will you be in an abusive relationship?
If I am supporting this person and I see that the person behavior or action is not in line with my core value or core belief, I would definitely withdraw my support from that person. If you think that this is where it's a problem. If I was doing it based on monetary gain or benefiting from it in any way in terms of monetary or certain interest, then I can see the ethical, lapse in that, and I can see people criticizing. I didn't support Kumi because Kumi gave me money. I supported Kumi because I genuinely believe he's qualified to become president, and he could have done better.
So anytime you establish a relationship and that relationship breaks, you move on to the next. It breaks. You move on to the next. It breaks. People see
it's
politics. With respect to politics, if I'm supporting an individual or a political institution, if that institution is failing or is not living up to its potential, I will withdraw my support. My loyalty is not to an individual or an institution when it comes to politics. My loyalty is to Liberia. And I always hold on to that core belief.
Thank you. And a lot of our politics in Liberia is on individual personality. But let me ask you, what's
the problem?
Well, what's your philosophy? And that's why when you are attracted to people, that will happen, right? What's your core belief?
This is my core
ideology that you want to go for first.
My core belief is
so that when everything else fails, you still holding on to that philosophy. You holding on to your ideology. You holding on to your core belief. What is it?
My core belief is I should stay true to myself and to the people that believe in me. I should never do anything to lose that integrity, lose that focus, lose that trust bestowed upon me. So I've always held on to it. I shouldn't breach that trust. And I've all through my life, I can't remember the last time that I have done it. If it happened, it would be rarely happening. But in terms of politics, I support an individual. If I notice that things if you are failing, I'm not going to support you. I'm not going to blindly support an individual because I want people to like me or because I'm afraid of being vilified. I'm not going to support that individual. If I know that everything that you're doing is not in line with my core belief, again, I'm going to move on.
So don't you think it's about time to support an idea and not individuals?
What are the ideas?
You tell me.
No, you tell me.
But that's why I distance myself from people. If your idea does not align with my core value, I distance. For example, with the Kumi campaign, I genuinely believe that Kumi could have made headway and done better in Liberia. When I noticed that his campaign was failing, should I stay there and continue to steal with a failed campaign, or should I support a movement that the Liberian people are gravitating toward to move the bigger picture of George Weah out of power?
I said, let me help you there, Dennis. There's something that probably a lot of you do not understand with our politics, and I think I'm gonna break it down. You see, 1990, a lot of us fled the country. President Weah, in one of his speech, said, "When the capable not around, the incapable take control." A lot of things happen in Liberia in the last couple of years, and people just think it is by design. If you look in our legislature, some of the caliber of people that are in our legislature, in a normal society, some of those people would never take power. They would never see the daylight of anywhere in those areas. It is happening now in Liberia. The people that we call leaders in Liberia right now, I'm not saying, or some of the people that they call leaders. I see sometimes we in the diaspora, we think that we are leaders because we can send wave, money, grant, something. We are not leaders. The leaders in Liberia are those people that left there that have control over the people. They have taken up power. They are in the legislature. They are in the house. So a lot of them are overpaying themselves. They are in the communities. Those are the people that are the current leaders of our country. If we must change Liberia, we must first be able to have a seat on that table. A lot of us who can have 20 comments in there, probably 30 comments in there, that will help dilute some of the level of incompetence in there. And how do you do it? We need to get more people that are knowledgeable in power. But let me tell you something. You think it's going to be easy? Those that are there are fighting to keep it. They have power, the real power. They have money, and then they have the will of the people that follow them because they have been the leaders. So one of the things that, for me, when you say what are your core values, my core value here is you cannot change a system if you do not have power. You need power before you can govern. That one just common philosophy there. You need power and you can consume. So what good with my ideology or philosophy do for Liberia if I keep supporting people that will keep losing and the bad guys being there? So what we need to do is to first find a candidate that the people support, those that matter, those that on the ground can support, and we can work with them. Nobody comes and say, I won't be bad president. People can say, Joe, we are good, but the people behind him bad. If plenty of good people follow bad president, we will make that president good. So first, we need to identify.
If that's the yardstick, then why don't you just support George Weah? Because George Weah was at that same level, right? The people wanted him. So if the issue is who the people want, then why not Weah?
It is always who the people want. It is always. You think what is democracy? It's majority rule.
So if the majority wants Weah, then you support Weah. Is that what I'm hearing?
If the Liberian no, you see, one of the things, I'm not God. I'm not going to play God. No. Nobody know who you're going to be. You can come to me and say, Hussein, support me. I'll be good. Do I know I can look at your past behavior and say, you know what, this person will be good. Despite the Liberian people wanted Joe Weah, I knew based on past behavior, which were a good indicator that he would have been a terrible president. Despite the fact that the people wanted him. Guess what? No matter what we did, no matter how we fought, he still ended up winning. But you know what? It ended up being a blessing in disguise. You know why? Because he has served. Now that narrative that I will be a good person and that popularity, he cannot do that anymore. That's democracy.
Let me ask the last question and then we can go to our phone line.
Donald Trump came to power. Why is he there now? He's still struggling. People didn't know. People had to test it sometimes. Sometimes the masses have to test it, know that they make the error, and then next time they will not make the error.
So actually, what drive you is who the people want, and not really the ability of that person.
No,
I
give you a whole an entire scenario.
All right, let me ask this question now. So I know you will say it's politics, right? But let me use what I'm familiar with. You know, must you always be in a marriage, or you can sit down by yourself small? What do I mean? You were with Ure, Boakai, then Cummins, then you supported DeLong. You were buddy with Costa. Now you don't like him anymore.
No, I don't hate Costa. I like Costa.
Right. So, I mean, his way is his politics.
I like some of the things he does, but
right. So now it's like you must always be associated with somebody.
Yes, that is my right. That is my right.
I know that's your right, but do you also think about staying single, or you must always be in a marriage?
Why should I stay single? You know, are you understanding the implication of what will happen to a country if you're still single, if your voice is not heard?
Thank you. Hassan,
give me one good reason, Dennis. Give me one good reason why, not only me, why a Liberian should be single or Liberians should stay under the politics. Give me one good reason. Give me 2 or 3.
They're right? You talk about the right.
No. Give me 2 reasons why a Liberian must never partake in politics.
Just not never, right?
Just say that, not never, right. But just say that in one.
Right. So you're right to be quiet. Number 2, because you don't want to jump from the frying pan to the fire hot. So you say, well, I mean, these are all bad choices. It's better I don't waste my vote, right? If we all sit down, so there are some people who make those choices. But you said you are not. Hassan, why can't
no. Hassan, no. Didn't have to answer the question because
I answer.
No, you answer. You said you have to be quiet.
I said 1, you want to be quiet. 2, they are bad choices.
Be quiet for what?
That's their right?
Then how are you
their right not to align with anybody?
How are you contributing to your democracy?
Without non-voting is also a vote, right?
No.
So people have the right not to vote, not to support any of the candidates you have. Some people go and say, well, I believe that none of these people represent my core values, so I'm not associating.
You think that will stop people from voting?
No, I'm not saying that. Hassan, why don't you stay single?
What do you gain by that?
Why don't I say single?
Yeah.
Because I have a voice. And that voice is a voice from God. That means God gave us that ability to use our voice. That many people have the voice that we have. Staying single will be a disservice to Liberia, will be a disservice to the people. So what you fail to realize is that even though we take a position...
I'm not asking the question.
Yeah, even though we take a position, our position is not static. We're not married to that position. Right. So if I am supporting an individual because I believe at the moment in the situation dictate that that person is the best person at that moment, and that person is deviating from the core belief that once drew us to that person, I withdraw my support. It's not on me, it's on that person. But at least I demonstrated my ability to do something at that moment for the greater good of Liberia or for a cause.
Thank you. If you're just joining us, this is my sit down with the Fadiga brothers. This 2 political twins. I mean, these 2 political brothers. They're very forceful in Liberian politics. They don't know how to keep quiet, so they always have a side so that they can take part in Liberian politics, and they are doing that quite very, very well. Love them or hate them, they have a side. And most politicians gravitate towards them. They want their support because these guys can move things. If you want to join the conversation, I call it the political journey of the Fadiga brothers. We want to know their alliances, their motivation, and also their philosophy. 605-313-6004. The code is 791403#. We take a 55 seconds break and be right back. Keep your calls ready. All right, welcome back to Between the Headlines by guest Mr. Hassan Menje Fadiga and his twin brother Al Hussein UJ Fadiga. We have
go ahead.
We have some callers on the line.
I wanted to say one thing before.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
You said one thing just now, and I remember my political mentor. There was this older white lady that came with it was Yuli Mill during the 1997 election. She said, Hussein, always take part in your election. Always take part in your political affairs. She said, I tell people that all the time. You say, I go around the world helping people to fight democracy, to exercise, for people like you to exercise your democratic franchise. She said, let me tell you something. Whether you choose to be part or not, somebody will make that decision. And you say the worst thing here is most time it will be things that you don't like. You lose political decisions shape society, the economy. You're talking about the cultural landscape. Look, being absent from politics, you lose a lot of things. I don't see any positive outcome of you sitting down. The only reason I've seen people sit on the sideline is for the fear of being bullied, called names, called flip-flopper, called this. But let me tell you something, the true hero of our democracy are those that have aligned themselves with somebody. You don't have to win. I have lost a lot of time. I lost with Boycott. We might lose again. It doesn't matter if I win or lose. What it matters is that my voice that God gave me was heard. That if I can make people make decisions, then I have fulfilled my democratic right. So I don't think anybody should stay out of our politics. I don't think anybody should not get involved, because not getting involved will not change what will happen. Other people will still make that decision for you.
Thank you very much. Fair point. Let me take some calls here. Our first caller is Hassan. Hassan, you beat Ever to it today. Hassan, go ahead. You're live, sir.
Yeah. Oh, David, I beat Everest today. I'm so happy. How you call it? This room tonight, this is the reason why this platform remains the best of all I've seen. And kudos to the brothers being on the show tonight. And this is the first time I actually get a chance to actually hear Hussein articulate himself on his views and stuff, like on his political views. So, I mean, just my little piece of advice or what I got to say, my 2 cents is, I mean, we have to stick to our core values and stuff. You can't flip-flop. You can't pick the lesser of the 2 evil, you know? I think that's what they were trying to do, pick the lesser of the 2 evil. But you also got to remember this is about, you got to stick to the devil, than the angel you really don't know and stuff like that. And then he made a mention about, it being a tornado or a hurricane. When you have a strong moral compass and believe in what you want to believe, believe in change and how you want it to be, you wouldn't just fall for anything. This is going to stand for something, or you fall for everything and stuff like that. You guys, you want to be that wind in the hurricane, or you want to be that tree that's in the midst of the hurricane that plants its roots so strong in the ground that no matter how hard the wind blows, they stay. You don't want to be the house or the other trees that, and stuff like that, and flip-flopping your opinions and stuff like that. You always got to have this strong moral compass and stuff. So we shouldn't just try to remove George Weah with anybody. We can't compromise Lenin like brought back to Prince Johnson. Because we always got to factor Joseph Boakai. If the old man was young, if that was 6 years ago, then fine. But this man is almost 80 years old. We're talking about 6 years. And if he can't finish, Jeremiah...
80-year-old president right now.
Thank you. Thank you, Hassan.
Yeah, the question, just to finish, the question is, are we willing to let Prince Johnson closer to our president?
Oh, well, the last time I looked, I can answer that question. That's a very easy question.
We all want George Weah gone. But thank you.
That's a fairly easy question.
Thank you. The Fariga brothers, please jot that down if you...
Yeah, I'll jot it down.
Yeah, let me take the next caller here. That's Evans Morris. Evans is our all-time first time. He always the first. Evans, thank you so much for your support. Always calling. Let's hear from you.
Thank you, Mr. Jai, and congrats to Hassan. You beat into it. Well, let me say this. I'll be straightforward with these points. And hello to the brothers. The last point that Hassan made, a question he asked, whether we want to get somebody like Jeremiah Cohen, who is backed by Johnson, close to the presidency. I'll call these two guys political BMs. Because Mr. Jai, you've been hopping on that point. We all can see it from afar. These guys are not loyal to any political ideology. They have no principles on which they stand on. This is a man who said he's in law enforcement, but sits on a platform with a federally indicted man and cozies up with him. You will say, oh, the man hasn't been proven guilty yet. But all the other people who was in that thing with him have already pled guilty. Only innocent. These are people who have great moral, they're immoral.
Dennis, you know what I hate about these kind of comments I gave these to him? Because if you tell something that we didn't
get on the platform and try to...
you can either ask the question or...
Hold on, man.
I'm not here to listen to bullshit.
Hold on, Hassan. Hold on. Hold on, Hussein.
That's bullshit. You should shut him out right now.
Hold on, Hussein. Let him make his point. He's been...
Shut him up. I'm your guest. We need to be protected. Don't tell me bullshit. Who the hell are you? Who the fuck are you to tell me who to do what? Shut that goddamn bitch up. Tell him to shut his ass. Shut him up.
Hussein, you gotta be respectful of the caller.
You will not insult me. Dennis, you will protect us. You will protect us. I will not stop talking until that dirty piece of trash that is mouth. I will not stop talking until that dirty piece of trash that is talking can shut his mouth. Dennis, you can tell him to shut his mouth. Tell him to shut his mouth.
Hussein, you have to be respectful of our callers.
No, I'm not. No.
He did not insult you.
He insult. Dennis, stop it. Dennis. I was getting when you said I would get real pissed with you. I didn't want to talk. How would you say the man Jay insulted us?
The man Jay insulted us. Are you listening?
What? Did you hear him just now?
What did you say?
Man, Dennis, I didn't want to get involved in it, but why would you defend the man?
Let him ask question.
Why would you do that?
What did he say that was insulting?
The man attacked our integrity. He questioned our integrity into question.
My integrity. You know who I am?
Do you know
what I do?
But that's his point of view. You can question him or you can defend yourself.
It's disrespectful.
Dennis, you know what?
It's disrespectful.
You should just ask the question and leave. Let him come, ask the question and leave. I don't need nobody to lecture me about moral. My parents gave me that when I was a kid. You look at a 46-year-old man, you will not tell me about moral. I'm born beyond that.
Dennis, Hussein, wait, let me address something.
I want you guys.
No, Dennis,
shut up.
No, you can't do that to our callers. Because we want to have an open dialogue, right?
Dennis, let me address that thing. Let me address it first.
No, I wouldn't have you being on
how the man came and call me
subject.
BM. Have I joined BM before? You know me not be BM? Do you know how much I make? Do you know what I work? Do you know what I do? I will never be a BM. I came to this country. I went to school. That's why my mouth, why my hair big. I don't fit in no politician mouth. I support whoever I want.
Dennis, the man was very disrespectful. You know that. And we are your guests. You can call on the show and then you're calling on the show and tell the disrespect.
You are BM. I know that BM.
BM. Right. I mean, we can
won't be civil. I will be civil. I can go either way. You won't be civil, we'll be civil. You won't go the Grand way, we'll go there. I can be both.
Dennis, but let me address the man. Let me address the man. The man said something just now. And Liberian people like to lie. Let me tell you, can you give me a chance? Let me address it.
But the outburst from
the outburst is you sit down and letting this guy lecture.
Why would you let a man insult us?
That's
I'm in law enforcement.
No, that's not BM. That's why I'm asking.
I'm in law enforcement. I will tell you this much. I have never been on Spoon TV. I have never been on Stool TV. That's the first lie. That's why I will come. I have never, upon my kids' life, I have never been ever indicted. I have never said
Hussein, you got to hold on now.
Dennis.
I mean, let us be able to talk to people who disagree with us.
No, that's not disagreement.
No, let me tell you something. Hussein, wait, let me explain. Hussein, Dennis, you want to give me a chance? Let me explain. Here's the thing.
We got 3 more callers, so let me give you a minute.
No, but let me address that. Saying stay hard, let me address it. Dennis, do you know why I have zero tolerance to Liberian that try to besmear other people's character and lash at them? We have this culture when people say things about you and they construct a negative narrative about you. If you do aggressively Friday by shaming it and doing what my brother did, it becomes a reality.
What your brother did was wrong. Don't back
what
that.
The guy did was never call me too, and we are your guests on the show. So he got all right to lash out. Why would somebody call you? This guy could even live for this man here. What is that guy doing for living in America here? What is he doing? He knows where my brother works. I work in law enforcement. They may accuse me of going on Spoon TV and sitting as a panelist with
you know who a BM is?
And then he questioned my law enforcement credentials. He doesn't know me from anywhere. Have I been on Spoon TV before? No. I have never been on Spoon TV. Not once served as a panelist on Spoon TV. I don't go there. I don't even like talking. And you notice on live here, my brother do most of the talking. I like to write. I don't talk. I'm not a talker. You will see me writing a lot. That's one thing you guys don't know about us. I don't talk. I don't like to talk. My brother do most of the talking. I have never been a panelist on Spoon TV. I've never sat there. I don't even know how the chat room works.
Your point is taken.
This guy accused me. He did not only accuse us, he called a political BM. Now, we chose a side. All he should have been, he should have done, ask his question.
Ask his question.
On the show, and then this guy here, he don't know us from nowhere.
You know me can say that can lecture me about moral.
No. To me talking, to me believing our voices, to me believing we're making impact.
Mr. Hussein Fariga, you can still use curse
word. The next time when
you need to protect us by telling your guests when you shouldn't have allowed you to continue when you were getting angry. You should have called him out, Dennis.
That's not a justification because you get angry.
Political BM is an insult.
Political BM is an insult. It's an insult. You will not sit here and tell that, and then on the show you defend the guy for insulting us. You
can't do that.
I think you owe an apology. That was wrong.
I mean, you will get these challenges. You sat here and
I got zero tolerance to any Liberian, especially the one that ain't doing nothing for the state. You need to come and see.
But you are saying the same thing.
You don't defend a politician.
No, Dennis, you invited us here.
Right.
I didn't come here. I got other things to do.
You put me in this forum. If that guy come on my page or he see me in real life, I can beat the crap out of him. That is where I can defend myself. But you got me in this room and you want me to, you have restricted me in this room. So you got all right to protect me. If you can't protect me, I will defend myself verbally. Physically, you see me on the street, you can come and bring that one to me, we'll do it as a man.
You see, that's the thing about Liberian. People that they probably not doing anything in their personal life, they can't try to denigrate and attack other people's questions. I will support you. Are political BM?
I support
is that why you? Is that why you support?
I will continue to support boycott.
Dennis, because we chose aside, are we political BM?
No, I don't. I don't call you political BMs.
Well, then why you didn't tell the caller? You're supposed to stop the caller and tell the caller you don't use that word. He don't know us.
You don't know me.
I work with the Fed, and I'm proud of myself. The both of us have double masters. I'm proud of myself, double bachelor.
Yeah, keep me in the country.
We didn't come in the country here to pass around and walk around. You can check our record in America here. You will never hear me involved in any kind of scandal. So we all are, you will not bring a piece of trash that will come on the radio and come and talk.
You can't talk because you're getting platform.
You sit there and defend me. I think it was wrong on your part by not protecting your guests. It was wrong on your part.
You made me impressive. Do not give me the corridor to do it.
Please.
Do not give me the corridor to do it.
Please.
I don't care who that is.
Please.
I have zero tolerance for any Liberian, especially they're not doing nothing for the set in America.
Are you going to allow me to bring in more colors, or we're going to?
Make sure
they gotta be respectful. If they try to denigrate
colors too. You can use all these languages because somebody said.
I was just reciprocating.
We got zero tolerance to anybody, and no Liberian will bespan my character. I will selectively respond aggressively to any Liberian that bespan my character because I chose aside. I got zero tolerance to that. That has nothing to do with politics. It's just the culture that I know that if you use it that way, it becomes a reality, and we're not going to accept it.
Can we move forward?
Let's move on.
Let me bring the next caller here. That's Mr. Kalebo Gonglo. Mr. Gonglo, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Dennis. Hussein Fadiga and Hassan Fadiga. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you. I saw your question and I responded to your question.
And I joined the show from the state of Pennsylvania. Well, I'm not going to call you political BM like the brother before me did, because I don't think you are. But here is what I would say. I listen to Hussein. I think Hussein is the one that is on Spoon Network, I believe, if I'm not making a mistake.
I was Spoon Network.
The view he expressed about basically looking for a winning side, I think he's been just trying to, look for a winning side, that you can't make change if you don't have power. That theory, I think, is a fake theory. If you take that theory and you just oppose the struggle of Backup Matthews, Dr. Amos Sawyer, Councillor Chawan Gonglo, and the likes in the history of Liberia, when they fought for change, they could have easily gone and join the government. They did not.
They did.
Because they believe in something, that there has to be a change, and they decided to fight for a greater good for society as opposed to something for themselves. I think what you guys are doing is fighting for something for yourself than fighting for something for society. But when you say you are pragmatic, in Liberian sense, pragmatism is a disguise for a political opportunism in Liberia, based on my history, my understanding of Liberian history. Most people who have called themselves pragmatists in Liberia are trying to be political opportunists. They move from party to party. They're looking for opportunities. It's a disguise for opportunity in Liberian politics. So I would really want the Fadigas, as you are known, because it's easier for you guys to be prominent because you guys are identical twins. You've been around. Fight for what you believe in. Georgia is not. You want to replace Georgia with somebody who is Georgia-like or more, who has the potential to even be much more worse than Georgia, then that is not a change, Fadiga.
Thank you.
You don't have to win. Listen. Dennis, give me 1 minute.
Get her.
Please, 30 seconds.
P.O. Pierre Lumumba in Kenya, the guy who is a prominent orator in Africa today. The election in which Pierre Lumumba lost, I was an international observer in that election. His tribesmen, he's a Luo, and he was opposed to Raila Odinga. They say if you don't support Raila Odinga in Western Kenya, you can't win election. He said, I will not join the tribal group. Even if it means I lose election, that's fine. But I will stand for what is good for Kenya, and that's what he did. Today, he's a permanent person in Africa today, but he never served in the Kenyan parliament because he lost the election. Fight for what you believe in, even if it means there can be victory in defeat. Fadiga, you can have a victory in defeat.
My brother, change.
And do not join a thing that is destined to wreckage Liberia more than Georgia has done. And
that is your opinion.
So who do you think?
So who is the best option at this moment right now? Who is those are subjective comments.
Please jot it down. The color support his brother Tiawan say Gongo.
Let me take. Gongo is a fine man. I respect him, and I wish him good luck in his political endeavors. But
he's not going to win.
It is his time. But I don't have nothing negative to say about Tiawan Gongo.
Tiawan was on the show the other time.
I respect him highly, and if there were not many people in the race.
Let him finish talking and then we'll address.
Yeah. Let me take Aliyu Kamara, a born-again Bwaka supporter. Aliyu, you're live.
First of all, let me thank the party guys for coming to the right person. I think these guys, even though Hussein, I've really been going after Hussein, but over the years I've seen make the right decision. You might call it somersaulting, but he has somersaulted for the right reason. I'm disappointed that they haven't been able to control their emotions on the show. Dennis, the way you approached this incident tonight was inappropriate. That begin can get under people's skin. Even though it goes Sunday, I almost lost my mind on that show. He had a very demeaning and disrespectful way of addressing people. He does that to everyone. So sometimes you gotta tell him to watch the way he.
Who is that person again? What's the name?
Please speak to the issue.
Okay.
What's the name of that person? I'm going
to the issue. I have to point you out. You're wrong tonight.
No. I am not wrong. I can defend that. But go ahead.
Okay. Stay your ground. But I think I've told you what I observed. That's what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, listen. I hear people come on and say they're standing for the right thing. And they want the Fadiga brothers to stand for the right thing. But the only reason why they support someone is because the person is their brother. Then I tend to wonder whether their opinions have any
They didn't say that. They didn't say because they are brothers. But go ahead.
No, his brother. He's saying he supports his brother.
No, what reason he support Taiwan? Taiwan doesn't even have good 50,000 votes in the country as we speak. No poll indicated that he can even win 6% of voting. What other reason he would support him? He support him because he's his brother, regardless. He stand with his brother. That's what's going on. Who was saying that by supporting Joseph Boakai and not supporting Ellis Cummings means somebody is the political opportunist? First of all, he used the word when somebody said pragmatism means political opportunism. People just like to mislead people. If you look at things based on what it is, you're looking for qualification, you're looking for proven record, you're looking for someone who has been tested and proven. Will you put Taiwan, Alice Cummings, and Joseph Boakai in the same class? No. They're not in the same class. Let us be honest about that. So these guys are not making decisions that doesn't make sense. Whatever they're making right now, you look at Dennis is working the place. When you're hiring somebody, the person with the most experience, when you're hiring people, not the person with the most experience you can teach. So how are these guys not making it right?
It's not just experience, but thanks for the call. It's not just experience.
But yeah, the experience, not just experience, but you have, he's qualified.
Yeah, he's qualified.
He's experienced and he's a technocrat. What would they want?
Thank you.
And he's credible and reliable.
Thank you.
For having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
Let me get Trogon Bayu. Trogon, you live.
Hello, panelists. Hello, guests. Dennis, man, I'm having problem with you pronouncing my last name all the time.
Oh, Bayu, sorry.
My last name is Bayu.
Bayu.
The Fadiga brothers are from Grand Bassa.
I know the Bayou.
With that family.
I know the Bayou.
I was calling you like Crown, but it's
Bayou family from Thomas Street.
Yeah, we are one of the most prominent.
What's up, Bayou?
What's up, Bayou?
In Grand Bassa County.
I mean, I'm not prominent. I came from the village, all the way beyond Goldback, so I'm not used to prominent.
I hope that you don't mispronounce it next time.
All right, I will try.
How you all doing, my Bassa brothers? I follow Hussein on talk almost every day, and I understand his view. He has the right to, support anyone he chooses.
Right.
This is my first time actually hearing from his brother Hassan. I know I've been hearing about him. Guys, I just want to admonish you, be a little bit, have a little bit of restraint. Sometimes people will say things that would not go your way and you might not like it. But when you're in the public eyes and in the public view, especially you're expressing opinion every day and people listening to you, not everyone will agree with you and not everyone will accept you the way you are and your decision making. So please take note of that. I want to make comment on my brother Hassan when he said in the past he didn't support Joseph Boyka because he saw him from a distance. But now when he got closer to him, he had to change his mind. And this is one of the problems we have in our society today. I understand exactly what he's saying. I have people who have heard about me who didn't know nothing about me until they had a conversation with me. Then they say, oh, what I heard about you was a little bit different from really talking to you. So, but I want to ask my brother here, though. You say now you're closer to Boyka, so you know him. And you say that his memory capacity is very sharp. I'm not a psychologist, so I can't diagnose anyone. 80-year-old man, if you say his memory is sharp, God can bless people in different ways. And some people who in their system, they don't have sharp memory. But if Joseph Boyka is allowed, that's God's blessing. But
my mom remember it.
Or after the election, or before the election, if it doesn't go the way you hope, will you then view him from a different perspective, or will you still consider him to be somebody that you feel you can support now?
Thank you.
Yeah, let me. I just come to end my statement real quick. And I want to say to my brothers, Elvis, you were not the best guys that we listen to all the time. Please forgive my brothers. Sometimes they will say something, and my brothers, please have a little bit of restraint because in public house, they're going to say anything that you don't want to hear at times. Thank you very much, Dennis.
Thank you. Well, Morris, you called very last, so just less than a minute, please. We want to Gassama Morris.
Yeah, I will make it very snappy. Thank you so much for picking my call.
Thank you.
I just want to respond to the guy who called. This is how sometimes people contradict it. I think it's Congo, right? It's the Hassan, they should go for what they believe in. But if people say they believe in Joe Boyka, but you come back and say, oh no, don't go this way. This may not even able to say, look, you'll go this way. Because when you say somebody should not go this way, you should be able to tell them where they should go. But you can't able to say the people should go for what they believe in. But this is what they believe in. But you come out to say, no, they should not go for that. But you're not even able to say, look, you have to support you. Gonglo team is the best team, so for that reason, you're not even able to say it. He doesn't even have the courage to say that, But I just wanted to say this to the other Fadiga. Hussein is supposed to know that because sometimes when you on the shows like this, some of those things are just distractions. So don't fall for it too much, because what they actually wanted is that what you're gonna give them. I just want to bring that to as an advice to the other brother. For Hussein, he should know that better because he been in the talk show host for a long time, But thanks for picking my call.
Thank you so much. That will be our last caller here. Let me go back to my guest. Hassan, you go first.
Yeah, Dennis, what happened here today? I was not going to respond. For me, I'm very slow at reacting to things because I've seen some of the worst situation, and in my line of work, I remain calm and assess the situation. But I would tell you this much: I didn't come to you, we didn't come to you to come on the show. You invited, out of respect for you, we took off on our business schedule to come on the show. When a guest come on your show, they should be protected. People can call, but the meaning is start to be very disrespectful. You call them all, or you stop the show as you as the moderator, and then you tell them, look, you can ask your question, you can lay your premise, but you cannot denigrate or disrespect your guests. I got involved in this when you said that this man I insulted her. This man don't know me from nowhere. And this is the thing about our culture in our society. People that they're probably not doing nothing in their life, they will look at you and say all the worst thing about you, and they will confidently say it like they know you. This guy don't know us. Our support for an individual or political institution had never been about money or monetary gain. If it was for monetary gain, would have been with George Weah. George Weah has tons of money to offer us. We would have been with the George Weah team. We do things based on conviction. We do things based on our core value and core belief. When we got up, when everybody was talking about the Elton and Abraham Loon, they both of us spent more than 5,000 tickets, hotels, and whatever, and we flew to Hong Kong to verify that loan. That's how that's what drives us. That's what motivates us. Now, this guy don't even know us from nowhere. I have never been on Spoon TV. You heard him confidently saying that. Look at the other one calling said law enforcement on Spoon TV ain't there. I guarantee you call that man here and check his record. You mind he got all kind of crap on his record. And he's the one that come on here to question our integrity for choosing a side. I will tell you this, and I will go on record. For as long as I'm alive, I will always choose a side. If a situation dictates I should choose a side, I said I was not going to support Joseph Boyka. The situation dictates that Joseph Boyka is the rescuer of Liberia, and the bigger picture is for George Weah to get from power. I will ensure that Joseph Boyka become the next president and George Weah is not re-elected. God, if that's the will of God and George Weah goes back, well, I will move on. But we will always choose a side. That's just what I want to say. And then the next thing is, thanks for having me on the show. I hope other Liberians see what we saw in Joseph Boyka. I can tell you, get to know Joseph Boyka. You want to talk with him personally, I can make that happen for you.
Yeah, please. We want to have him on the show.
Yeah, but hope you will have your people protecting.
I want you to listen to this old man, listen to what he has to say, and then you can decide. Everybody have their.
I really want him to explain.
Don't listen to him. Don't judge him based on the lens of other political pundits or other people. Listen to him and hear him. Everybody that have, that is fair and rational in the thought process, you will leave from this old man with a wealth of knowledge. You will leave from the old man convinced that this old man is a real deal. That's all I can say. Joseph Boyka is not paying. In fact, Joseph Boyka will straight up tell you that he doesn't have money. Had this old man been a corrupt politician and been involved in all kind of things, trust me, this old man come to Minnesota, he stays in someone's basement. He doesn't go to a 5-star hotel. That's the kind of person Joseph Boyka is. That's how humble this old man is. Yeah. I will encourage you to read his book from From
Foya to Moravia.
Get to understand him, get to know him. I knew Joseph Boyka from a distance, so I judged him based on that.
We've been trying to invite him to come on the platform so he can explain his plan. But let me hear from Hassan, Hussein.
Somebody asked a question about Prince Johnson. I don't know whether it's the Congo guy. I think people are confusing Prince Johnson with Jeremiah Kuhn. I don't know how the two names sound alike, but Prince Johnson, Jeremiah Kuhn, those are two different individuals. Jeremiah Kuhn is a 44, almost 45-year-old grown man that has served almost 3 times in the Senate. I don't know how that name look the same as Prince Johnson or has something about Prince Johnson, something with. Honestly, I don't care how much you spin one lie, it doesn't make it true. It is still a lie. Prince Johnson supported Madame Selive. He was invited there multiple times. If they have some international community that can grab people because they support you, they probably should have grabbed Ellen Johnson Sirleaf today. People are trying to make something out of nothing, and that would not hold. Jeremiah Burke, I think Boyka did, Ambassador Boyka did the right thing by choosing Jeremiah Kuhn. That's why I say in our politics, we have few people to choose from, and those were some of the few individuals that was something. I think he made a perfect choice. To look at it, because they know what people do not understand about us, and the reason I lash out at that guy, I don't know how you call him or whoever he say he is. Look,
idiot.
He's an idiot.
Please refrain from using these foul languages. Please.
That's not foul language. I'm just saying he's an idiot.
Before we
but
Dennis,
I think that's the guy.
You don't have the moral ready to question our behavior because you defended the media when you insulted us.
No,
you defended
the reason why I'm saying this.
It is not about defending. You said the media insult us. You can come and be lashing and be insulting and say, oh, because somebody said this.
Was I lashing out on the show?
I got my integrity to protect.
This man, and you
I
can
don't
do
even
that,
know
and
you
you
from
can do
nowhere.
that.
You question my integrity.
And you can do that. I mean, people will question you.
No, I don't care.
But then I got right to defend myself. We got right to defend ourselves.
But not the way you guys did. You can't just do something.
I got in because you came there and defended the man. And your ego and pride will not allow you to admit that what you did was wrong.
You're wrong.
You are the host of this show. And you're supposed to protect us. You cannot defend someone that disrespected your guest.
Dennis, how long have you known me for?
Let's
know me.
Dennis, you are in the politics.
Hold on. Let me tell you something.
No. Because I wouldn't have you continually insulting and insulting. The idea that this man. Because you
cannot bring me on your show to denigrate me.
No, I would not denigrate you.
Well,
but I
you
did it because you defended the man.
That's what you did. That's what you did.
No,
you defended the guy and you still defended your position.
You started insulting.
We had an intellectual discussion for the last 1 hour.
Look,
Dennis, I was only reciprocating what the guy did to us. We
will not alter the reputation that we have built over the years. We will not sit here to allow or nobody or low life or come on the program and attack our integrity and we remain mute. It will never happen.
No.
It's upon you to protect us, and you didn't do it. Rather, you chose to defend the man on the show, and you said the man.
I have lived in Minnesota for almost 20 years. That Madam Tala Kuwongbaye, I ran one of the biggest radio stations in Minnesota. I have lived here for over 20 years. You will never find one person to say, they must say, every time we meet at a function, we say how we crack joke. Nobody that know me in person.
In Minnesota, I live in Minnesota.
I will not let anybody malign my character that I built over the years. For some piece of trash to come there and tell me something. No. I will not say it.
We got to end it here. Let me get your closing comment.
Well, my closing comment is this. I support Ambassador Boyka. For those of you that choose not to have a side in our body politics, kudos to you. But you are on the wrong side of history. Because no matter who you choose, you could choose Cummings, you could choose somebody, choose a side. I see Madam Kuwongbaye, she keeps saying, Tiawon. That's her side. I've talked to Tiawon before. I think he's a fine candidate. Can he win the next election? I don't believe so. I see a man, Ambassador Boyka, like the caller that said, you put Boyka, you put Cummings, you put something, the man with the most experience, vast wealth of experience. If you want to talk, if you are hiring, just say, not even for the presidency, if you are hiring, you have 3 people to choose from, or 10 persons to choose for. And Boyka was on our list. When it comes to politics, governance, and everything, he has the most experience. You want to talk about it? The thing about the presidency is a managerial position. It's a managerial position. In America, we have one of the oldest serving president in this country, and he's even talking about going another term. 80 years or 2 years older than the Ambassador Boyka. He's still running the greatest country in the world with an economy of almost $1 trillion+. And we're talking about country that we can't even get our budget up to $5 million or $1 billion. So that's the hypocrisy with our politics. If you say what I stand for, this is what I stand for. I have chosen a side. You got a right to accept it, but you think that, if you say you flip for, you say something, it will move me. No. I've been around long enough to know that my skin is strong, tough, really tough. I've been battle tested. If you want to be civil, I will be civil. If you want to discuss the issue, I'm on Spoon Network. We discuss the issue every day. And thousands of people listen to us. They listen to our opinion. And I have given my reason over and over why I'm supporting Ambassador Boyka. I believe him. I wish I had known him up and close. Right. But the good thing here is I'm glad that I'm alive today, and I stand to be a character witness for him. Not too many politicians have that people to tell them that, hey, this is what it is. And my voice that was given to me by God, if I can use it to convince 1 or 2 or 3 or even an entire nation, then I will do it. If I'm wrong, I will come out and say, you know what? I'll say we were wrong, but maybe we'll get it. Nothing is perfect. People get it wrong all the time. I'm not a saint, but I know that because this is for the general good of Liberia and because of a strong conviction that we need to remove this George Weah from Tony, the best person in the position to do that right now is Ambassador Boyka, and I will give him my unwavering support.
Thank you. I wish we have...
So put a leash on that dog the next time you talk to him. Put a leash on him. Whoever it is.
Funny. I hope we have another time. We don't have the time to talk about actually why you support Boyka. We go to Boyka and all that. So it was only about, your alliances, your philosophy, and that's why I'm not asking too many questions on Boyka. Go ahead, Hassan, you're closing.
Well, Jack, it was an honor having us on your show. Even though I'm disappointed in the way you handle the situation, I'm highly disappointed.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in the insult that Fadiga
no, you do wrong. That's the thing.
Too wrong,
you want to be right, and you don't want to look at what preceded to.
You know what I believe? I believe that you allow that guy to insult us.
That's what.
I mean, the way you took it. By the time the guy thought you started insulting all over the.
You should have cut it off. You allowed the guy to continue, Dennis.
I was shocked that I would be on your show.
Dennis,
and this guy would just come and start insulting us, and I'm listening to this guy, lecturing me.
My closing. Let me tell you my closing.
Yeah, please do.
I have been around long enough in the Liberian community. In Buchanan, where we live, there was Fred Bidel, Mr. Bidel. He had a funeral home. The people, the myth in Liberia about people, morticians, people that work in the funeral home is that they kill people. They don't know that that job is a profession. Till this day, there are people that believe that Mr. Bidel, someone woke up in the funeral home and he killed that person. There are some people that in Buchanan that couldn't shake Mr. Bidel's hand because they think that this professional man, know his job so well. I'm hearing some sound.
No, you're good.
I'm good?
Yeah.
And this man, and people felt that way. I'm bringing this story up to tell you that I have been around long enough to understand the psyche of the typical Liberian. People that barely know you, they don't know you, they will confidently come out and spew things about your character like it's true. And people believe that this man was a killer only because he worked he was a mortician. There are so many stories like that. There are people that feel that Eddie Johnson said he killed 100,000. But in Liberia, if people come up with story about your character and you don't aggressively put them in check, that news spreads the wildfire. Look at, for example, the Kumi Gay story. This man have been married for so long with a beautiful wife and 2 children. Till this day, we send people in Grand Gile. There are people that still believe that the people don't even want to hear Prince Johnson. I mean, Kumi. In one time, we sent one of the young men. They said Prince Johnson are gay. They don't want to talk about him. Now Prince Johnson for Alice Kumi. I'm only telling you this to tell you that the kind of culture we have. This young man came on the radio and said the other law enforcement man on Spoon TV, and then he talking and sitting. I bet you, I get a guy and you check his record. This you probably he probably get the worst thing on his record, or you probably get something. But he confidently just said that I'm on Spoon TV without even trying to get to see clarity who is on TV, on Spoon TV, or who's the panel on Spoon TV. He said, you're on Spoon TV and you sit with something. These are the hypocrisy that you get among all. Like, he doesn't have any friend that has been indicted or convicted or been involved in any kind of thing that runs contrary to the law. So because my brother is on Spoon TV, so he's guilty by association. Is he indicted? Is he involved in things? No.
Hassan, don't let this one thing take the whole night. Let's come to the show.
I'm bringing it up because I want you to get to that point where you will not focus on the way my brother or I lash out at him. Rather, you will understand why we do what we do. I told you that anybody that attack my character, if you insinuate,
I'll find out my record. I'll put it on social media.
The only reason that I'm talking because I got king there, or else if it's on my wall, I know how to deal with that. I got zero tolerance to nonsense. Some people are black them, some people I deal with them. I respond decisively to them. To go back to politics, just to get back to politics, I support Joseph Boyka. Initially, I said I was not going to support Joseph Boyka. Given the current political climate, given the current wave, given what I know now, having been with the Cummins camp and what I do know now, I believe Joseph Boyka is the right man to defeat George Weah. Me, I'm not thinking on anything right now but to work towards getting George Weah out of power. That's the bigger picture right now. George Weah has denigrated Liberia. He's corrupt, and I believe he needs to go. The only man right now that is in the right position and the right alternative right now that I know is Joseph Yima Boyka. And I'm willing to put my pride, I'm willing to put my ego, I'm willing to put whatever I said back and walk it back. I don't want to believe only cowards hold a position and marry it. I'm not a coward. If I will apologize for taking a position and I was wrong, I will publicly apologize because I didn't get into this because of financial benefit. I got into this because I want a Liberia that if I retire from law enforcement in the next 9 or 10 years, I can go back to a country that I can relax and live peacefully. And I believe Joseph Boyka is the right man right now to lead that train to a better Liberia. So thanks for having me on the show, even though you and I apologize because I think like the typical.
Well, that's why I call it, man. Cool.
You have an inflated ego, but we accept it and we'll move on. But that color, he's smart enough. If I get in here, I get a record, I'll put it on. If I find it, I'll put it on. If I get in here, I find a record, I'll put it on. I'll publish it. And he messed with the wrong people because I got zero tolerance. Tell him I got zero tolerance to disrespect from people that will come and say things about our character.
Right, and because
you see me in person, and you strongly believe.
Hold on now, Hussein. Well, I do not have the way you describe me, or what people are saying, is they are criticizing you. Number one, they call you flip-flopper.
I agree. You can call me flip-flopper.
I agree. I can live with that.
I can live with flip-flopper and say no. I flip-flop.
What's about opportunist?
No, I'm not an opportunist.
I'm not an opportunist.
So people will charge you with these things. If this thing get you
no, not that one. That one
he called a BM.
Right.
No,
to me, the way I understood the term political BM is the same I understood.
I do not want to be associated in no way with the word BM.
Hold on now, because this is a split-second decision I'm making. Political BM, the way he described it, I understood it as being an opportunist.
No.
Right? And so, yeah, you can have that. So you, based on that now, you lash out and you started insulting throughout, and you took.
That's not it. Go back and watch it.
That's not
all you said.
Right.
The man said, I'm on professional and I'm on Spoon TV.
Right. That's something that we can debunk right away.
No, that's not debunking.
But let him finish. Right?
The rest of the intellectual
and you took the entire show now in a different direction. Everything has just been focused on his call. Just the call.
Had you called that caller off and tell the caller that you were being very disrespectful, we'll not have the conversation. I was calm. All the time you were talking, I was calm. When my brother was talking,
but thank you very much.
I only got in and got pissed when you came in to defend the caller. That's when I got in. I was calm all through. I didn't say anything.
But you didn't stop Hussein from insulting.
Why should I stop a groom man for when another groom man? He said he was a groom man.
But thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your time, and definitely we can continue this conversation, especially when you have a side now, and we can continue the conversation.
I have a side. I'm going to defend it on my wall, in the media. So good. I'm on the largest platform in the country right now. We'll continue propagating it. You got problem with Stanton, take it. Stanton is a big man. He can handle himself. I was on your show. I told you my position on the Spoon Network. And I still stand by it. And if you want to play for them.
And we stay away from that because we wanted to talk about these political alliances. I think your presence on Spoon is not because of you are aligning with Spoon politically. So that's why we didn't go into that. But thank you, gentlemen.
Good.
I always appreciate your time and appreciate your being here. So you are not afraid of controversy. And so please continue to do what you do. But I don't like how you insulted on this platform, and
I don't like how you defended the caller either.
And we can hold it like that. Want to also thank our viewers.
We never in fight. Let me tell you.
Hold on now, Hassan. We can't keep going on with the show.
No. Hold on. 1 second.
We can take that off air. You already made your position clear.
No. It's not about you. It's about one of my your avid listener. I gotta respond to her. She's been actually trying to say.
We didn't go into comments and all that because of the time. We've gone over 2 hours.
But I want to respond to her because I respect
your
her.
permanent figure, permanent figure.
Madam Tala, she's something. What she's talking about is Molak. I never stopped Molak. So Molak was a group that was founded in my studio. What happened was Amara Khan was coming to Minnesota, and then there was a protest. I was not aware that there was a rebel uprising within Radio Africa that I did not know. I was the host.
Which uprising?
There was a rebel uprising, political rebel. So there was a plot to protest against Amara Khan. How did I know? Kiatama and Erasmus had come to me in the night. Say, are you aware? Show me a letter. Say, are you aware of this? I'm like, the network is not aware. Like you run your so I said the network is not aware that this is going on. How did they come up with a decision? So I went there and said, you know what? This is a network. We need to be neutral. If Amara Khan wants to come to Minnesota and he wants to grant an interview, let us do the interview. And Amara Khan said that was the only place you were going. And later on, he ended up doing the interview, but I never stood in the way of Molak. You know.
Now you open a can of worms for because I wrote articles on that protest, and I'm very, very much aware of what went on. But that would be another show.
Was that the one that stopped it? I didn't stop it. You know that, right?
You didn't stop it. The criticism was you aligned. You did not support it. Let me say it that way.
Dennis, you're running this radio. If there was a protest, Amara Khan is coming as a guest. Pray tell me, man, you think it was fair enough? This
right,
man,
but did you support the protest?
well,
No.
no, I did not.
No, you didn't support the protest. Do you think the protest was genuine, that they wanted to because they were against corruption in Liberia?
Our
Right?
protest
There were some
debatable
other
because
things that happened.
That's what I'm saying. We shouldn't open that because
I don't want all to open Pandora box.
Because there were some
Exactly.
things that happened that Madam Kuwampa is not saying, or she probably was not
and
aware
there are a
of.
lot of things that happened because Amara is a personal friend. We went to the same high school. I was a senior.
Good.
So I know the
So
story
he would
very
know
well.
that my hands were clean in that. Did I take money for him?
No, I don't know about clean because you're passing around with clean hands. Some people
My hands are clean.
Some people can be all in the mud from here, all mud, and they put their hands on say my hands clean.
No, my hands are clean.
That whole clean hand thing.
Madam
I want
Kuwampa,
to thank
my
you,
hands
gentlemen,
are
for
clean.
coming. Always focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. People say, "Oh, don't bring
I
the
supported the protest. Allow it to go on. Hey,
But
no,
what
I
power
allowed
did
it
you
go
have to
on.
stop it?
No, I didn't have power. But
Right.
there were counter protests. You know that, right?
Yeah.
There was a counter protest.
Yeah, that counter protest was fake.
Well, it happened.
Right. That was okay. And I wrote and I called on Mr. Conan to support the protest. And I used his open, what was that thing called, the open initiative, where they were showing corruption and everything. I said, in light of that, join the protest because we are against corruption. And I was encouraging him to join the protest, but he did not. He laughed it off. But
We had a good show and the program went on. The police were there, but it was good. At least everybody, there were people crossing on the other side, road, there were people on the other side. But at the end of the day, they shook hands, and that is what democracy is all about.
Right. And I want to thank you again, guys, and I want to thank our viewers for watching Focus on Liberia. Whether you believe the Fadiga brothers are flip-floppers or not,
I accept it. I flip-flop
we
for
are all Liberians, right? Whether you believe Boaka is rescue one and Yombli is rescue mother, Cummings the fixer, or Gongolo the integrity icon, or we are the rabbi. Whatever you believe, we are all Liberians. It is incumbent upon all of us to do our very best to make our country the glorious land of liberty. Always watch Focus on Liberia. We are all Liberian, guys. Good night and God bless you.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Fadiga!